Welcome back to today's deep dive.
Mm.
We're so glad you're here with us today because we really have an incredible exploration lined up for you.
We really do. It's a
And
big one today.
it is. I mean, think about it. We've all grown up with this very specific, honestly, almost universally accepted image of what love and fulfillment are supposed to look like.
Right, exactly.
Like, think about the jigsaw puzzle metaphor. We're handed this idea early on that you are essentially walking around as an incomplete picture.
Mm-hmm.
You literally view yourself as a puzzle with this glaring, jagged, missing piece right in the center of your chest. And the entire overarching goal of the main quest, if you will, is to scour the earth, date around, and find that one specific person who snaps perfectly into that void, and
Yeah.
boom, the picture is finished. You are finally complete.
It's an incredibly pervasive metaphor.
Yeah.
It's romanticized in our movies, our music, our entire culture, basically.
Mhm.
We treat that moment as the ultimate triumph. But if you stop and actually dissect the mechanics of that metaphor, it is fundamentally terrifying.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you are essentially admitting that your structural integrity relies entirely on an external factor.
Right. Because if that person leaves, or I don't know, if they change, or if you simply never find them in the first place, you're structurally broken.
Exactly. You remain an unfinished puzzle forever.
It's just such a bleak way to live. So today's deep dive is designed to completely shatter that jigsaw puzzle paradigm.
Yes.
We are looking at a profoundly fascinating, dense, and frankly life-altering philosophical text. It has quite the title, so bear with me here. It's called If You Just Complete Me, I'll Be Completed, the Innate Natural Truth Source, All About It, and Why Life is a Fun Game.
Quite a mouthful.
A huge mouthful. But our mission today is to take the insights from this text and completely reframe how you, the listener, view your own wholeness, your loneliness, and just the unpredictable nature of your life in general.
And the author really tackles some of the heaviest aspects of the human experience here, right? Loneliness, that deep longing for connection, the exhausting search for, quote unquote, the one.
Yeah.
But the text does this by making a radical argument. It says this profound feeling of completion we're all desperately hunting for. It isn't something that can actually be manufactured by another person.
Wow.
Like, it's physically impossible.
So what does this all mean? The core premise we're unpacking today is that completion is actually a pre-existing state.
Right.
It's not, something you go out into the world and acquire like a prize. It's a baseline reality that you simply allow yourself to recognize.
And we really need to ground ourselves in why this matters so urgently for
Yeah.
anyone listening right now. I mean, we live in an ecosystem defined almost entirely by constant external validation.
Oh, 100%.
We are perpetually scanning our environment. We scan our social feeds. We monitor our relationships. We read the room at work, constantly looking for someone or something to confirm that we are real, that we are valued, that we are enough.
It's exhausting.
It is. And this text offers a vital roadmap out of that exhausting cycle. It points the reader toward an indestructible internal signal, like a frequency of wholeness that never actually turns off, regardless of the chaos happening around you.
But before we can fully grasp what that internal wholeness actually feels like, the text insists we have to examine how we usually get it completely wrong in our relationships.
Right, we have to look at the trap.
Exactly, the trap. The author draws this massive distinction in how we connect with others. They separate the people we use as a supplier from the people who act as a mirror.
Yes, and the text actually refers to mistaking a mirror for a supplier as the central confusion in almost all relational suffering.
The central confusion. Wow.
Yeah, it is the root cause of the intense anxiety we feel when we are supposedly in love.
I was actually trying to visualize this mechanism while I was reading, and I came up with this analogy.
Okay, let's hear it.
It's the difference between treating someone like an emotional battery pack that you plug yourself into to survive versus standing in front of a still lake that simply reflects the sky above it.
Oh, I like that.
Right. So when you treat someone as a supplier, they are the battery. You're operating from the belief that you literally lack the energy, the wholeness, or, the worthiness inside yourself. So their presence has to physically generate it for you.
And let's look at the emotional consequences of that dynamic. If someone is your supplier, their validation is literally your oxygen.
Right.
This is what produces that overwhelming terror of loss in relationships. If they are supplying your wholeness, a breakup doesn't just make you sad. It destroys your fundamental self.
Because they took the battery with them.
Exactly. It erases you. And the text notes that we often confuse this frantic, clinging dependency with deep love. We think the panic means we care.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But it's actually just a survival mechanism that has attached itself to another human being.
I hear that, but let me push back on this a little bit. If the healthier alternative is to view a partner as a mirror, like someone who just reflects you, doesn't needing a mirror still imply a level of dependency?
How do you mean?
Well, we still need other people to see ourselves clearly, right? Like, I still need the lake to be there if I want to see the sky reflected.
That is a very fair critique, and it really cuts to the heart of what the author's trying to say.
Yeah.
We do need other people.
Mm.
But the text is very specific about the mechanical difference between a battery and a mirror.
Okay.
A mirror does not give you a single thing you lack. A mirror merely reflects the light and the structures that are already present.
Oh, I see.
Right. When someone truly sees you, when a partner or a dear friend is acting as a healthy mirror, you feel recognized, not created.
Recognized, not created. That changes the entire posture of a relationship.
It changes the entire power dynamic. The resonance you feel when you meet someone who truly gets you is profound. But what is being recognized is your own depth. It was always yours.
That's incredibly liberating.
It is. The text emphasizes that understanding this distinction is the key to liberating a relationship. When you finally realize this person is not keeping you alive, they aren't the battery pack keeping your heart beating, you can actually love them freely.
Because the fear is gone.
Exactly. You can desire them, enjoy them, merge your life with them, completely free from the survival-level panic that you'll cease to exist if they walk away.
You can want them passionately, but you know your core structure belongs to you.
Precisely.
But, okay, if we establish that a partner doesn't create our wholeness, but merely reflects it, that forces a pretty terrifying question.
It is.
What happens when we encounter the ultimate mirror and then we lose them? Because here's where it gets really interesting. The text directly tackles the concept of the twin flame.
Oh, yeah. That is a highly charged term.
Very much so. It's that person where you just have this undeniable, bone-deep, almost cellular feeling of, oh, of course it's you. Where have you been? It is the ultimate reflection. So how can we possibly be expected to just casually apply this philosophy and let go of someone who gives us that level of profound, earth-shattering reflection?
Well, what's fascinating here is how delicately yet firmly the text handles this exact dilemma.
Yeah.
In a lot of clinical psychology or, rigid philosophical frameworks, there's a tendency to gaslight the individual. They might tell you, oh, that intense twin flame feeling is just anxious attachment. It's an illusion.
It's just trauma bonding, right?
Exactly. But the author of our source material refuses to do that. The text actually validates the twin flame experience.
Wait, really?
Yes. It argues that the soul-level recognition, that highly specific frequency match between two people, is a genuine phenomenon.
Yeah.
The signal is real.
But there is a massive catch built into that validation, isn't
A
there?
profound catch. The recognition is real, the love is real, the intense aliveness you feel when you look at them is real,
Yeah.
but the actual energetic generation of those feelings is happening entirely within your own field.
Meaning they catalyzed the reaction, but they didn't supply the ingredients.
Precisely. Think of it like striking a match against a matchbook.
Okay.
The friction of their presence brought the fire to the surface. But the combustible material, the capacity for that immense, universe-shifting love, was fundamentally housed inside of you.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
They resonated with it, they drew it out, but they did not install it. And realizing this fundamentally alters the anatomy of letting go.
Because if you operate under the supplier delusion, if you believe they created the wholeness, then losing them means the wholeness is packed up in their suitcase and walks out the door with them.
Brett, you're left empty.
But if you generated the fire, what exactly are you letting go of when a twin flame relationship ends?
You are not letting go of the truth of the connection. You don't have to pretend the resonance wasn't profound or that they didn't matter. What you are actively releasing is the condition.
The condition.
Yes. You are letting go of the strict, limiting belief that this specific human being must be physically sitting in front of you for you to maintain access to your own wholeness.
You decouple the feeling from the person.
Exactly.
And the text gives this somatic description of what this looks like in practice. It says, wholeness feels like ground rather than weather. I honestly haven't been able to stop thinking about the mechanics of that phrasing.
It is arguably the most important metaphor in the text. We have been conditioned to think of wholeness as euphoria, right?
Yeah, totally.
We imagine it as this weather system of absolute sunshine, where you reach a state of enlightenment and never feel lonely, sad, or heartbroken ever again.
Right, like you've just won the game of feelings.
But the text argues that wholeness is the ground you stand on. You can be entirely whole, standing on solid ground, and still be experiencing the torrential rain of grief.
Wow.
You could be whole and long for someone intensely. The solid ground doesn't cancel out the storm, it simply holds it. The signal of your completeness stays steady even when the mirror is removed.
Okay, let's unpack this idea of the signal, because the text introduces a specific term for it.
Yes, the innate natural truth source.
Right. It describes this frequency that is always broadcasting within us. But here is where I found myself arguing with the author a bit.
Oh, how so?
If this truth source is innate, and it's always broadcasting, and it's the literal ground of our being, why do we spend the vast majority of our lives feeling utterly disconnected from it?
That's the big question.
Right, like why do I feel frantic on a random Tuesday night? Are human beings just built with broken receivers?
The author addresses this directly. We are not broken. Our receivers are fully functional. The problem is the sheer volume of noise we allow into the system.
The noise.
Think of the innate truth source as a constant, low-frequency radio transmission.
Hmm.
It never powers down.
Okay.
It doesn't broadcast stronger when you just got a promotion,
Right.
and it doesn't broadcast weaker when you get dumped. It doesn't care if you meditate for 2 hours a day or if you've never stepped foot in a yoga studio. It is structurally independent of external conditions. It exists first.
So the signal is perfect, but the static overriding it is just deafening.
Exactly.
Let's dig into the mechanics of that static. What actually constitutes noise in this framework?
Well, the text identifies the primary sources of noise as accumulated fear, physical and emotional contraction, and that deeply ingrained societal belief that you are inherently incomplete.
That puzzle piece anxiety.
Yes. But the loudest noise of all is the active habit of constantly scanning outward for confirmation of your own realness.
Ah, it's the scanning. We are essentially human radar dishes spinning wildly out of control.
That's exactly what we are.
We scroll through social media looking for engagement. We perform relentlessly at work to get the nod of approval from our boss. We shape-shift in our relationships to make sure we're perceived as lovable. And the underlying mechanism of all those actions is a desperate outward scan demanding the world tell us we exist and have value.
And every single time you send out a ping on that external radar, you generate immense internal noise. Your attention is entirely directed away from the internal receiver.
Which drowns out the signal.
Right. But the text points out something beautiful here. The moment the external scanning mechanism pauses, the internal signal instantly comes through.
How does that pause actually happen, mechanically speaking, like in
Right.
daily life?
It happens when the brain's survival imperative is temporarily short-circuited. The text gives examples.
Like what?
A moment of profound stillness in nature, looking at a truly breathtaking piece of art, or feeling genuinely deeply seen by a friend without having to perform for them.
Oh, the art example makes a lot of sense.
Let's take that one. When you stand in front of a masterpiece, there is nothing for you to acquire.
Right.
There is no social standing to negotiate, no threat to mitigate. Your radar stops spinning because there's nothing to solve.
Wow. Yeah, you're just present.
In that moment of suspended scanning, the static drops. And when the noise drops, the signal of your own completeness is immediately audible.
And the text makes a crucial point about how that signal feels when it arrives. It doesn't feel like a sudden download of new information.
No, not at all.
It feels like recognition, like a bodily sensation of, yes, this is what's true.
It arrives without needing an explanation or a rational argument. The author describes completion not as a petition you're frantically begging the universe to fulfill, but as a readiness.
A readiness.
It's like a held breath that you finally allow yourself to release when you realize you're already safe.
You know, this really dismantles the self-help industry's entire model.
Completely.
Because completion isn't this permanent, enlightened mountaintop state that you finally achieve, lock in forever, and never have to work for again. It is not a finish line.
No. It is simply a moment of recognition, a frequency you tune into.
Right.
And the more fluent you become in catching yourself scanning outward and intentionally quieting that noise, the more continuously available that recognition becomes.
Yeah.
But it's always native to you. It is just you recognizing the truth of yourself.
So if the internal signal is all there is, if we're fundamentally complete and the whole goal of our existence is just navigating our internal noise to recognize our own indestructible signal, what is the point of engaging with the external world at all? Why bother with the messy, painful, unpredictable, frankly exhausting reality outside of our own minds?
It's a valid question.
The author makes a wild pivot to answer this, claiming that the reason we engage is because life is a fun game. And I have to be honest, this is where the text almost lost me.
It's a profoundly jarring shift in tone. I'll give you that.
Right. You go from this deep internal philosophy to the language of a board game. It felt dismissive. Calling life a game sounds incredibly tone-deaf to real trauma, real heartbreak, and real grief.
I can see why it feels that way.
How can we look at a listener who might be navigating, say, the death of a loved one or a devastating illness and say, hey, don't worry, this is all just part of a fun game?
Right. But if we connect this to the bigger picture the text is painting, we see the author explicitly addressing this pushback. Calling it a game is not an attempt to minimize what is agonizingly hard. The argument here relies on the mechanics of game design. Think about the structure of a genuinely brilliant video game. Hardness and fun are not opposites. In fact, hardness is required for the engagement to mean anything.
Let's follow that analogy. A well-designed game starts with a tutorial level, and by the end, you are facing a boss that would have absolutely obliterated you on day one.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah.
A masterfully designed game doesn't ask you to be a different player. It meets your specific combination of instincts, limitations, and learning speed. It scales with your capacity.
It scales, right.
The text argues that life operates with this same underlying intelligent coherence. The challenges you encounter, even the ones that feel utterly overwhelming and deeply unfair, are not random punishment. They are coherent with your development.
You know, there is a line in the text that really clicked for me on this. Every genuine engagement with a challenge produces capacity that wasn't there before.
Yes.
The author is very careful to say this isn't toxic positivity. It's not saying like, oh, your trauma was secretly good for you.
Definitely not.
It is saying that the mechanism of showing up to what life presents actually forces a reconfiguration of the self. You level up because you had to.
And understanding that underlying coherence completely reframes how we interact with the unknown. In the game of life, discovery and surprise are built into the code. You do not know what is going to happen tomorrow.
No one does.
Now, if you view the universe as a chaotic, random, and hostile place, that not knowing produces absolute dread.
Because at any moment, without rhyme or reason, the universe could just drop a piano on your head.
Right. But if you trust the coherence of the game, if you trust that the challenges presented to you are calibrated to force your growth, then not knowing transforms. It stops being dread and starts becoming an adventure.
And the stakes of this game are entirely real. This isn't a simulation where you can just reset the console and nothing matters.
No, the stakes matter deeply.
Yeah. The text actually argues that the pain we feel is proof of the design. Caring deeply about your life, your people, your inevitable heartbreak, isn't a bug in the system that you need to meditate away to reach enlightenment. Caring is the core gameplay mechanic.
Without real stakes, there is no meaning. If there was no possibility of loss, the love wouldn't hold any weight at all.
That is so true.
The text points out that losses teach us things about our own depth that only loss can teach. And crucially, it reminds us of the resilience of the player.
Yes.
The human self is vastly more durable than it believes itself to be during its darkest moments. You cannot lose permanently in this game.
Because the game is dynamic. When a massive relationship ends or a career falls apart, old configurations of your life die. But new configurations become possible exactly because the old ones ended.
The board resets.
The board resets. And the text points out that the absolute best feature of this dynamic game, the thing that makes it worth playing, is the other players.
The inexhaustible depth of other human beings.
Yes. Their inner worlds. The comedy they bring, the unexpected tenderness, the ways they constantly surprise us and reflect different parts of our own sky back to us.
Which brings our entire exploration full circle. How do we best interact with these other players without falling back into the trap of using them as battery packs?
We bring the two halves together.
Exactly. We bring the two halves of this philosophical text together. Completion and the game arrive at the exact same place.
They integrate beautifully because life is a fun game is most alive, most vivid, when you are firmly rooted in your own internal wholeness.
Right.
You're curious enough and vulnerable enough to meet the massive challenges of the game, but you're grounded enough to know that losing a round, experiencing a failure, or losing a beloved player cannot erase your
Can't
existence.
destroy you.
Right. You don't have to retreat into a shell of fear, and you don't have to perform for your survival. You can just play.
You can let the world touch you. You let things complete you in the moment. The beautiful art, the profound conversations, the resonant people. But you do so with the unshakable underlying knowledge that what they are completing is already there inside of you.
Yeah.
They aren't broadcasting the signal to you, they're just turning down the noise so you can't possibly miss it.
So, to you listening right now, take a breath and recognize that you already contain your own completion.
You always have.
It is not an achievement to unlock at the end of a long, exhausting journey. It's the very material you are made of. The people in your life who made you feel the most electric and alive didn't give you your aliveness. They were just brilliant, beautiful mirrors reflecting your own vast sky.
As we close out this deep dive, I want to leave you with a final thought experiment.
Okay, let's hear it.
It's a way to test this out in your own reality. If you truly believed, starting right this second, that your internal wholeness signal was completely indestructible and entirely independent of anyone else's approval or presence, what bold, uninhibited move would you make in the game of your life tomorrow?
Oh, I love that. It changes everything when you realize you don't have to spend the rest of your life desperately searching for a missing puzzle piece.
Yeah.
Because you were never the puzzle to begin with. You were always the entire picture. Thanks for diving deep with us. Keep playing the game.